Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And boy, if you haven't seen the deep dive that Matt, the mortgage guy, gave us last week, you are missing out. There's a playlist on this channel called Deep Dive. He is going to save people a lot of money. He's going to make sure you don't get taken by a mortgage broker. If you haven't watched that deep dive, go do it. Matt, that was very, very well done. Thank you for being so prepared and answering every single question.
Yeah, that was fun. I was actually going to tell you, like, we might want to do something, call it like office hours or something once a month for the ORAT community. Cause I enjoyed it a lot because, I go live on YouTube most every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm getting questions from all kinds of people across the country, what you might just call the general public. And then I get ORAT member questions where I'm like, oh, these people are doing the work. It's, it's like,
Next level. Yeah.
I'm teaching sixth graders one day, and then I go into a college classroom. I'm like, oh, these folks are a little bit high level. So we're going to have to set something up like that because it keeps me sharp, right? Having all those questions come at me. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. So actually something that I came across this week that I have no idea about. So I'm going to ask you and then just sit back and listen. Looks like there's something coming out called FICO 10T. What is it? What do we use today? Is it important? Is it noise? What's going on?
Right. And so, they come out with these new scoring models for credit. I think actually FICO 10T might have been around for a couple years now. But what happened on Monday, I believe it was, that Sandra Thompson, the director of the FHFA, made an announcement, Fannie, Freddie are going to be using these scoring models in the future.
That's what I read. Yep.
Yeah. The two models specifically were FICO 10T and VantageScore 4.0. And VantageScore 4.0 is like a TransUnion product. And, latest scoring models from FICO. And of course, they're like FICO 10 and FICO 10T are designed to outperform all the previous versions of FICO in helping lenders evaluate credit risk. The cool part about it, which I think is cool, one is there's more stuff being included like rent and utility payments. And in that area, I think their big push is like, we're going to help more people. Some people that don't have as deep of a credit history or as robust of a credit history, but they've paid their rent on time. They've paid utilities. And that was where they did all the studies. And they said, an extra 17 people or 17% would actually qualify. Plugging this into our algorithms on approve eligible. And they did a study, certain demographics, Black and Hispanics would be pre-approved or approve eligible at a higher level. So a lot of good stuff. I think that's FHFA's big push, right? Is certain demographics. And I've got more to tell you too about some cool stuff coming to Home Possible, Home Ready and all that. But first on the credit score things, the big takeaway for me is FICO 10T. And again, we don't know if Fannie and Freddie are going to implement this in 23 and 24. Sometime in the next couple of years, they're going to start using, these two credit models to evaluate people's credit. The T stands for trending, and that can be a good or a bad, because if they look back and they say, 18 months ago you had 10,000 in credit available, and you were utilizing 6,000. And then it went up to 15,000, you're utilizing 9,000. That's a more accurate model of how your relationship with debt has been over 24 months. And I talked to a couple people who work with that's all they do all day, every day is credit, right? They're in credit repair or whatnot. People know how to game the system, right? And so there's all these tools like rapid rescores where I literally just did this for a client where they had 8,800 in debt. And their total, available credit was like $10,000. So that was pulling their credit score down. We said, pay off this and pay this down to 1,000. Now, all of a sudden you've got 1,000 versus the 10,000. Credit score goes up 55 points.
Oh, wow.
Doing that on this 10T model, Mike, is not going to work, right? Like they're going to look at the trended data. They won't be fooled. So in that regard, it could actually hurt people. And I think that, there's always going to be pros and cons, but I saw a pretty good analysis by my friends over at My Credit Guy. Sam Parker runs a credit repair agency that's specifically for people trying to get mortgages. So it's related. And he said, before we get too excited, Fannie and Freddie are using FICO 4 and 5. Here's what that score looks like for this client. And it would be 70 points lower, FICO 10T. So,
so let's talk about FICO first and foremost, because I think a lot of people kind of, basically your your credit score, right, is really there to protect the lenders, right? Basically, you're asking to be extended a loan. A lender uses your credit score to say whether or how risky a loan is or isn't. That's really what it is. Now, FICO, I guess 10T, looking at trending, is trying to be more all-encompassing, because again, if you pay your rent or all these other things, you don't have credit, right? You haven't. The first thing to get credit is you got to have credit, and it's kind of this thing you get caught in sometimes. So it's just basically trying to open it up to more and more people. I get it. But like with all models, it won't work for everyone. I think like you're saying, some people it will actually be detrimental. You might be more all-encompassing, but you also will hurt some people that maybe weren't hurt before, is what I think you're telling me.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you had, challenged credit that's been cleaned up, I guess you'd be trending in a better. So, a lot of this stuff is yet to be seen, right? We'll see when it rolls out, how it impacts. One positive I've heard as well is that there's going to be, competition, whereas before it was, all one thing, and now we're going to be more of an open market feel with this Vantage score and 10T. So it could be a good thing, but don't expect it to affect you November of 2022, right? This is something that it takes a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the model's been out for 2 years. It just got announced that, hey, we're going to use this in mortgage decisions, because anybody who doesn't know, there's like 100 algorithms. And, if you're buying a car, they might use certain algorithms they plug in to get your score. If you're buying a house and you're getting a mortgage, different algorithms. So there's different algorithms that are going to spit out, your credit risk is all it is.
Yeah, that's all
800 is saying, you know what, this person has been really responsible with the credit they've had in the past. They paid it off. They've kept their balances low. They don't have late payments, all the stuff that goes into a score that you would expect. I
think it's a good thing, right? Being more inclusive. And again, if you're paying your bills on time, just because the bill's not a credit card or has debt attached to it, I think it's a good thing. Net.
Yeah.
I think it's,
I mean, because those people have been responsible with,
responsible with money. Yeah.
Monthly payments. One thing too, I want to mention, because I feel like this was like under the radar, and it was like mixed into some of these articles, but we all know that the FHFA and government agencies as a whole are trying to make home ownership more available to underserved communities. And one way they identify that is like if you've got less than 100% of the area median income, and then they can use any percentage they want. They can use under 80% gets this benefit, under 100% gets this one, under 120. So this was actually discussed this week as well with FHFA, that if you're a first-time home buyer and you're under 100% of the area median income, and that varies by county all across the US, but under 100%, there's no loan level price adjustments on your loan. And in layman's terms, for everyone listening, it might be that you're putting 3% down and you've got a 712 credit score. And so points get baked into that rate, or the rate goes higher. So it's more expensive for you based on these loan level price adjustments. Those go away, meaning those who have under 100% AMI and first-time home buyers are going to get the very best mortgage terms. And it makes sense, right? Like those people, underserved, have a hard time qualifying, have a hard time getting in. Home Possible and Home Ready are already programs that exist. And so it's expanding upon that, wiping out loan level price adjustments for all Home Ready, Home Possible loans. And what I heard this morning was in some areas, they'll go up to 120% AMI. And guess where they took the money from, Mike?
No idea.
They put loan level price adjustments. They made pricing worse to cash out refis.
Shocking.
Which makes sense. If you're doing a cash out refinance, I mean, part of me thinks, man, it might be somebody who's really in a tough spot. If you got to do a cash out refinance right now, it might be, you know, because you're in a tough spot. But whatever the case, those are getting more expensive. First time home buyers, low to moderate income, getting cheaper. It's to expand, you know, access to mortgage products and the best terms.
Yeah, at the end of the day, getting on the property ladder, the numbers are clear, renters versus owners. Again, it's really tough today. If you are a first-time home buyer, I feel for you. If you want, reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy, figure out what you can afford. He can support you across the country. How would they do that?
Go to greatmortgagebroker.com. You know, these programs are coming out. I'm seeing more and more, you know, down payment assistance come out. Not all of those are built the same. So I'd love, you know, someone to reach out to me and say, hey, somebody pitched this to me. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it neither? I'm brutally honest with people.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of programs that have come across my desk where I just say, listen, this is not something I would tell my sister to do. You know, this is not a loan product I would sign up for personally. And that's how I advise, whether it's purchase, refinance, whatever the case. Here's what I would do if I was you. Sometimes people listen, sometimes they don't. But either way, I've got, you know, 8 to 10 hours a day for the last 8.5 years. Mortgage has been the thing that I've been looking at, right? And so I feel like I might have a decent take on it. I'm going to give you honest advice.
Yeah, there you go. And again, folks, if you haven't watched the deep dive, go to the playlist called Deep Dive. It's the last one we've loaded. It was amazing. Great feedback. You really help people and you're going to protect people. Again, you're just brutally honest. You're trying to protect people and show them the sneaky behavior that can occur in the world of mortgage. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike.